Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
This is the closing bell on the Stock Movers Report. The companies making moves at the close of U.S. trading with Carol Massar, Tim Stenovec, Romaine Bostick, and Scarlet Fu.
All right, let's get to some of the individual gainers on this Monday, and definitely the semiconductor space. I'm looking at the stocks, definitely easily outperforming the broader market today. It's up about 1.6% here, so pretty much finishing at its highs of the session. And so you also had, if you look at some particular names, a lot going on in this space. AMD was also your number 2 gainer in the S&P 500. That one was up about 4%. So you did have U.S. chip makers rising as AMD. You saw UBS analysts raise their price target on AMD to 210 from 150. You had AMD today closing up about 4.3%, as I said, and closing at 173 and change. So some room to run, according to UBS. They also did maintain a buy rating on the shares. You also had Samsung Electronics producing AI semiconductors for Tesla, a new $16.5 billion pact. So a big win for that company's foundry division. So there is a lot going on in the chip space today, and you definitely saw even some European names, ASML, for example. It also gained some ground, and that is on the U.S.-EU trade deal, or at least progress, certainly, on that front. Do want to mention Tesla, up about 3% in today's session. Morgan Stanley analysts forecast that the market for self-driving vehicles will hit $200 billion by 2030. So we saw Tesla up about 3%. And then Nike, I just want to mention, up about 3.9% in today's session. JP Morgan coming out, upgrading it from neutral to overweight, raising its price target from 64 to 93, and telling clients to just buy it in a new note out today.
Hey, I just want to check in on some earnings. This is on Cadence Design. This is a software company. The software primarily used to design chips. The company saying that revenue in the most recent quarter came in at about $1.28 billion, a modest beat over street expectations of $1.25 billion. Adjusted EPS also beat $1.65 versus street estimates of $1.56 a share. And the company raising its 2025 revenue outlook, saying that it expects growth for the full year. Let me just make sure I have this right, of 13% here. You see the shares higher by about 6% in the after-hours trade.
Okay, that's Cadence Design. We got our eyes out for Whirlpool. We're expecting them to report in just a few minutes. In the meantime, let's take a look at some decliners in today's trade. I want to start with Opendoor. And before, Romaine, you give me a hard time about choosing this one. It was the most actively traded stock today. Yeah, I know, Tim. Okay. You get a pass. It's a all right. Stock. I got to come with, ammo to back up my choices here. 7.9% to the downside here. Don't you? The company's postponing a shareholder vote on a reverse stock split after a recent run-up in the company's shares. Remember, it had scheduled this meeting due to a notification from NASDAQ that it could be delisted for failing to maintain a stock price of $1 or more. That was then. This is now. Shares are now above $2 per share. The recent volatility, though, in the company's stock price led the board to delay the vote on the stock split proposal. Still, the stock fell today, 7.9%. And Gilead shares fell as analysts noted a potential risk to the company's HIV preventative franchise after Robert F. Kennedy, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, had been reporting to plan the dismissal of an advisory panel that determines what preventative health measures insurers must cover. Shares fell 2.7% today. RFK Jr. plans to dismiss all 16 panel members of the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force because he views them as too, quote, woke, according to the Wall Street Journal, citing people familiar with the matter. And finally, Duolingo.
What? They were what?
Too woke, according to the Wall Street Journal. This is, I'm quoting the journal's reporting here. Finally, Duolingo down 6.
Did they define that?
5. They did not. Oh, okay. I'm sorry to say.
All right.
Moving on to Duolingo, shares down 6.5% today. Citizens out with a note that said it was cautious on the company's upcoming results. The company said third-party data suggests engagement slowed since April. The analyst Andrew Boone adds that slowing growth raises the question of whether Duolingo's total addressable market is saturated. They did lower the price target to $450 from $475. The company is reporting results for the second quarter just in a couple of weeks, August 6th. Next week, actually, August 6th.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.